Okay, this lesson is on addition and subtraction of algebraic fractions. 6.2 you would have looked at multiplication and division of algebraic fractions. So to start off, we can look at numerical examples. Okay, for A, 1/4, 1 over 4 plus 2 over 4. Okay, answer we will get 3 over 4. Okay, so why do we get 3 over 4? Okay, we can add the numerator 1 plus 2. Alright, given that denominator are the same, which is 4. If you look at B, okay, we can't directly use 3 to subtract 5 in the numerator because denominator is different. So we got to convert the fractions into same denominator. So for 3 over 4, alright, we can multiply by 2 on top and 2 below, so that denominator will become 8. 6 over 8 minus 5 over 8. Alright, so after this step, we can use numerator minus numerator, which is 6 minus 5. So we get 1 over 8. Okay, so the same concept of objective of changing to the same denominator. Okay, this concept is very important. It applies in the case of algebraic fractions. So if you look at example C, denominators are different, so you can't add them directly. You got to convert one of them to be the same denominator as the other. So if you look at the first fraction, denominator we have 7a. Second fraction here we have denominator of a. So in the second fraction we can multiply by 7 on top and below. Alright, so we can get the same denominator of 7a plus 1 over 7a. Okay, so we can add them directly now. We get 4 over 7a. Alright, so do take note, this is a very key step to addition and subtraction of fractions. Okay, so let's look at example 5. Example 5. Alright, 5 9q square plus 2 over 3q cube. Okay, so for the first fraction, between the first denominator and the second denominator, okay, we got to change them to in such a way that they are the same. So for the second fraction, we have a 3, so we can multiply by 3. 3 times 3 will give us 9. Okay, and on top we got to multiply by the same number or the same algebra. Okay, so this will make the denominator 9q cube. So if you look at the first fraction, right, we only have q squared, so we got to multiply by q. Okay, multiply by q, multiply by q. Okay, so in this way, first fraction will become 9q cube, 5q on top, plus 6 over 9q cube. Okay, so now we have same denominator, we can add them. 5q plus 6 over 9q cube. Okay, so we have our answer here to example 5a. And for B, okay, we have a whole number here. Alright, so whole number, denominator is always over 1. Alright, so if I want to change this whole number 6 to have a denominator of 7xy, alright, I multiply, okay, by 7xy in the numerator and 7xy in the denominator. Okay, so what I will get is 6 times 7xy over 7xy minus, okay, so we simplify. 6 times 7 is 42. Okay, so This is our answer here. Alright. Okay, so objective here, look out for common factors, and for fractions that you are adding or subtracting, they have to have the same denominator before you can use the numerator to add or subtract each other. Alright, example 6. Okay, let's look at example 6. Okay, alright, so now we need to add two fractions, and you look at the denominator, they are different. Okay, so for the first fraction, we can multiply by the second denominator of the second fraction on top and below. Okay, so now if you look at both fractions here, they have the same denominator. Okay, alright, please take note also, this is not, we are not doing cross multiplication. Okay, this is not cross multiplication, we are just multiplying the denominators to each other, to each fraction, such that they will end up, both of them will end up having the same denominator. Okay, so since now they have the same denominator, we can add. Okay, we can add them. Over 4x minus 1, 5x plus 6. Alright, so on the numerator now, okay, we expand the bracket, so become 30x plus 3 times 6 is 18 plus 8x minus 2. Okay. Now if you are doing this on foolscap paper, you can actually use two lines to write one single fraction. So numerator is one line, and then you draw a line for the fraction, and denominator is another line. Okay, so we have our answer in 38x plus 16. Okay, for B, alright, this is also a possible type of questions that you can do. Of course, you can multiply denominators to both questions, and then after that to both fractions, and then after that you do the subtraction. But if you look at here, alright, the denominator, one of them is 2 minus a, the other one is a minus 2. The two terms in the subtraction here, alright, are actually in different positions. So for such case, we can actually convert them by factorizing out -1 from either one of them. Right? So a plus 1 over 2 minus a. Okay, this is the first fraction. So second fraction, what we can do to the denominator, okay, we call this, once we've factorized out -1, we can change the position of the terms in the subtraction. Alright, this is in I think it's in your notes number 6 or 7. Okay, so this term will become, alright, this minus sign, we combine with the minus outside, will become a plus. Okay, so now both fractions have same denominator. We can add the numerator directly, so a plus 2a, I'll get 3a. 3a plus 2. Alright, so this is example 6b. Okay, we still have example 7 here. Okay, so if you look at all the questions here in example 7, they are subtraction and addition of fractions, but if you look at denominators, alright, one of them, or at least one of them here, are actually quadratic. Okay, are actually a quadratic expression. So in A, quadratic, B here, quadratic, C, quadratic, D, we also have a quadratic. Okay, because we have a 3. If you expand this, you will get a quadratic expression. So for such question, okay, of course, using multiplication to get the same denominator in all the fractions here is a possible way. But when you have quadratic equations, alright, do consider factorizing factorizing it first, because you can actually make your working more concise and simple. Alright, so I will do A. Let's look at A plus 2x. So x squared minus 1. Alright, this is in the form of A squared minus B squared. Okay, minus B squared. So we can factorize it into x minus 1, x plus 1. Alright, so now if we look at these 3 fractions, the first fraction denominator, alright, is short of x plus 1, so we multiply this by x plus 1. Okay, we multiply this by x plus 1. And the second fraction is short of x minus 1, so we multiply it by x minus 1. Okay, so after this step, alright, write it out. You can see that all 3 fractions will have the same denominator. Okay, the last fraction here remains unchanged, 2x. Okay, so now all 3 fractions we have the same denominator, so we can go on to add them together. Alright, so if you have 3 fractions, I suggest what you can do is to add them from left to right. Okay, so with the first 2, alright, is a subtraction, so we can combine them together first. So if I have a minus outside, alright, it will become a minus 5x minus 1. Okay, plus 2x. Alright, so we apply the general rule from left to right. Okay, so I'll continue over here. So x plus 1 minus 5x plus 5. Alright, take note, this is, we are using negative 5 multiplied to negative 1. Therefore, it becomes a plus 5. Okay, and plus 2x. Over x minus 1, x plus 1. Okay, so we simplify what's in the numerator, x minus 5x plus 2x. Okay, so we will get a negative 6 minus 2x on top, over x minus 1, x plus 1. Okay, so to be our answer here. Alright, so this is for A. Okay, at this point I would suggest you pause the video. Alright, and if you are writing down, because I do not have space here anymore, I'm going to erase off A and continue with B. Okay, so after B I will erase off, continue with C and D.